Hello, this is Steve Brand of CAD School. For the past 25 years, we've been demonstrating, training, and selling what we consider to be the best software for designers and architects on Mac and PC. I hope you enjoy the video and get in touch with us through our website cadschool.co.uk. Enjoy! So let me start by sharing my screen, and we'll start with Vectorworks. Now, back in the external house here, because I've got more to say about external views than internal views. And we've got our normal Vectorworks scene complete with swimming pool, supplied by a friend, Adam Blundy, and he's having his house slightly remodeled. So got involved in this, and something that he said just yesterday. He said it's so helpful as a client. You know, a lot of you are designers out there and used to throwing out all your plans and elevations, and nice hatch patterns on your elevations to indicate what sort of materials there are. But Adam was saying just how useful this was to see exactly what his house was going to look like, what different material options he had. He was looking at not only hung tiles but black shiplap cladding, seeing what the difference was. He said, why wouldn't an architect do something like this? If you can get your kitchen done in real-time 3D, why can't you get a massive extension which costs 10 times more than your kitchen done? So I think I quite agree with him. So let's open this in Twinmotion. Now, what I've done to link them at the moment is to export a Cinema 4D file. Now, you may think, oh dear, I have to export. It's not a real-time export. It's really no big deal, as you'll see in a moment. So we're in Twinmotion, same file, and now real-time walking around as you've been expecting. Same sort of mouse controls you've got. You can use the middle mouse button. You can use the wheel to zoom in and out. Right mouse button to look around. WASD keys, you can walk through, back, left, right. And 1, 2, 3 gives you 3 speed movements. You can also see these here. 1, 2, 3 gives you walking speed, cycling speed, and driving speed.
Sorry, Steve. Can't actually see the Twinmotion screen.
Right, thank you very much. Sorry. Let's, is that better?
There we go. You got it up, yeah. Brilliant.
Fantastic. Goodness, thank you so much for... Cool. Okay, so into Twinmotion, and we can walk around using WASD keys. We can use 1, 2, 3 to alter the speed at which we walk around. And I've also got here, just turn it on, I've got an Xbox controller. Okay, so with an Xbox controller, I can walk around, and that's really fun. We can press the X key, and we're in walk mode. And in walk mode, complete with sound effects, it slams against the door. I can't go outside the fence. I bang up against the fence. Sorry, these are really annoying. There's sometimes we're in the preferences. We can turn those off. What's called the burger menu here. We've got preferences, and is it under appearance? Sounds will turn off. There we go. So if you're in walk mode, you can't fly up in the air, you're on the floor, and it will walk upstairs and ramps and things like that, which is great fun for walking around. If you turn off and go into flyover mode, then we can fly up into the sky, and that's all great for doing drone footage. So I'm just going to put that down for the moment. Now I have actually prepared a scene, but I'm going to show most of it. Certainly if I can show it in time, I'm going to do everything to it live, or a certain amount anyway. So one of the let's start with materials. So I'll give you a quick look around as well. Let's just minimize our zoom window and put that down there for a moment. So you can see on the right here, we've got a menu which shows our scene graph. So you can see objects within it. I have got some added stuff, which I could just turn on and show you the finished thing, but I won't. And on the left here, we've got a library. So inside the library, we've got all sorts. They've got materials, trees, objects, lights, characters, vehicles, tools, and a user library, which we can carry on adding to. So first thing I'm going to do is go into the materials, go down to water. There is a search, by the way, so if I had lost where water was, I can search it from here. And I've got some pool water here. So, not only as I hover over these things, you see a preview, which is very, very useful indeed. You can see the pool water's got this nice caustics on the bottom. So if I drag that down onto the swimming pool, we've got nice caustics on the bottom of our swimming pool. I've already put some materials on the fields and material on our lawn, but the lawn we've got here is not, real thick grass. So how do we do that? In Lumion, we just treat it as any other material. In Enscape, we treated it as any material as long as it had grass in the name. Twinmotion's a little bit different. So the other part of the interface, you've got the library over here, you've got the scene graph over here. And by the way, scene graph, as well as scene graph, you've got statistics. And here you can see my frames per second. Anyone who's a gamer is obsessed about frames per second. What's your frames per second? Okay, so anything above 60 is great. And actually, if you've only got 30 frames per second, it's perfectly usable. But that's obviously dependent upon your hardware. And it's telling me, how much of my GPU, my graphics card it's using, how much of my CPU. So that's all very, very helpful to us. So let's go on to one of the things that I was wanting to compare the three programs with, and that's grass. So I've got a separate object, and it's got a material applied grass at the moment. And the way I'm going to do this is by a tool called Vegetation Scatter. Now I've got all sorts of grass that I can put onto my scene, but all of this grass does tend to go the edges rather. It's a bit rough. So I'm going to go up my structure and go to detail grass, and I'm going to start with my lawn borders. Now, the way this seems to work best, and this is just my experimentation, is putting a number of instances of grass into this box down the bottom here. And then we're going to select all of that and go to my paint bucket tool. And I'm just going to click a number of times in my window here. And as you can see, I think I've got it dense enough. I'll maybe click one more time. And we've got millions of blades of grass in there. My frames per second has gone down, but perfectly adequate at the moment. Now, something I discovered while I was presenting this, I always thought, why can't we have striped grass like Lumion? Now, something you'll find in Twinmotion is there are a lot of hidden things. Well, just not totally hidden, but if we select all of this and go to settings, just go a little deeper down, and there we are, we've got stripes. Now, so I've got my there we go, just got to move us out of the way. So if I go to stripes, I can, sorry, go back again. If you go into you go back through here. So, okay, turn on stripes. Okay, there's more under stripes. So under size, I'm going to make it small as possible. And under angle, I'm going to bring it up to 90 degrees. If you have trouble getting 90 degrees because your hand is jittering because you're still slightly nervous, you can just click on the number and type. Okay, so there's our grass, and we've even got striped grass if that floats your boat. The other way you can paint things is by painting vegetation. And what we can do here, actually, I'll do it later, and I'm going to put some leaves on our around some trees later. So let's have a look at some of our vegetation, because if we're doing outsides, that's going to be very important for us. And I'm just going to start putting some, I know that Adam's got a few apple trees here, so we'll just search for an apple tree. Yeah, we've got an apple tree here. So I know over here somewhere he's got some apple trees. So we can just move things around very easily if you just grab its little bulb there, and that bulb will actually snap to things, so we could even put it on the roof. Notice that vegetation has an age, and it's not just scaling it. You'll notice there's actually 3 stages of growth. So it seems like it's almost seamless, but at some point you can see we get more boughs and a thicker trunk, and then it scales further, and etc. So vegetation is pretty intelligent. We'll see more about season in a moment, but we can do that. If we want to simply move a copy, funny enough, it took me ages to find this, but it's the Shift key. Normally expect on a PC it'd be the Control key or maybe the Alt key, but we can move a copy and that brings up a dialog box and we can say, okay, actually we'll have 3 copies based on the initial spacing. Instances or copy, well, an instance means it's a clone of the other one, and anything you change on one will change on the other. I'll just make copies so they can be totally independent. So I've got a number of trees here, maybe too many actually. So we won't have one by the pool. We'll grab that and delete it. Similarly, I've got hedges somewhere, and again, you know, I didn't know exactly where hedges were. I looked in vegetation, couldn't find hedging. So it's always good to. So we'll have a leafy hedge or a laurel hedge. Ooh, I think we'll have a laurel hedge. So I'm going to bring the laurel hedge here. And by the way, if you do just click on an object, you can then place it, you know, multiple place it in the drawing. Also, which is another little clever thing, if you select several objects there, when you click, you're randomly placing from whatever you've clicked. So if you want a variety of trees that you're placing one by one, then you can select lots of things in the library and it'll randomly put things in your drawing where you click, but it's random as to what it's going to be. So I can select that object, rotate it around. I've got snapping on every 5 degrees, and you can see that not only can you drag with a ball, but you can drag with a little axis tool, and I can put that in the right place over here. So we'll move around there, and that's looking okay over there. And so I'll go on this sort of, I don't know whether it's the X or Y axis, doesn't really matter. We'll move that. Let's try again. Let's move that, but hold the Shift key down. Again. There we go. Hold the Shift key down, get the right sort of overlap. And we'll do it as an instance so that if I do grow the hedge, then all of them will change. So I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to need, but we'll do overkill rather than underkill. So we'll do, okay, fine. So we've got them all going there. And if I go to this, now you've got translate, it tells you nicely shortcuts. So translate is a 4 tool. If I go 4, 5, 6, you can see I've got move, rotate, scale. So if I was just to change its height, right, it's not for some reason, that should be changing all of them. Not quite sure what's happening there, but you can see in my structure, the blue thing means it is an instance, but it may be that the scale is changed independently. So we'll do that and then change the height of all of them. It's really nice having this scene graph here, being able to select things by number, by name, as well as just clicking on them is great. Also, what you've got here is the ability to organize things. So if I make a new container and I call that hedge new here, then we can put all the, let's just make that smaller so I can see all my hedges. So we can select all of that and just drag that into a folder here. And we can close it and we can hide it. So you can hide and show things with that as well. So I love the interface there. Okay, I've found with these webinars that it's really easy to just get lost in the time and not do everything I wanted. So quick look. So I've added grass, added hedges, seasons. Let's show you a little about seasons. So the interface here, hello, welcome. Someone who's just joined us. Please add comments. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat, actually, just because. Where's the chat gone? Why has my chat disappeared? All right, it's not disappeared. It's come up here. Okay, just a quick look at the chat because that's not the chat. I've got myself completely lost as to where my chat's gone. Never mind. Sorry, I will have to find the chat later, but more chat. There we go. Still can't find where it's gone. Never mind. Okay, sorry if I haven't answered your question at the moment. So what was I doing? Check. Yeah. Okay, so fairly easy interface here. You know, we've got what we've imported, and you can see I've imported a few other things which are from SketchUp. We'll show you more of that in a moment. You've then got this thing where I use vegetation scatter. The vegetation scatter was based on the object that I clicked on, by the way. Vegetation paint, I can paint anywhere on anything. Then we've got things like location, weather, lighting, and camera. So let's have a little look at weather. So weather, we've got, you know, sunny, cloudy, you know, and back to sunny again. And we've also got seasons. So we've got summer, we've got autumn. Now notice the change in the trees. It doesn't happen gradually, sorry, you know, but it's just it is or it isn't, but that's nice. And if we change to winter, not only do we get a nice bit of snow on the ground, but our swimming pool freezes. Hope you like that one. You can turn weather off for certain things. So if you don't think your swimming pool should freeze, we can just sample the material, and season off means it's not frozen. Yeah, so we get snow very nicely on our ground, and let's go into faster way. There we go. So yeah, so if I move quickly forwards here, yeah, for some reason this weather is on. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. I haven't got snow on here because we should have snow on everything which has weather. But yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for that. So back to our weather. Yeah, we can go for snow here. Not only can we do that, but if we go to effects and have particles on, and if I go back to weather and I change from sunny to, oh, no, isn't that lovely? We've even got snow falling. Fantastic. So now I can't remember what it is that I've changed, but that has got snow even on our patio with a nice sort of margin so that things which are occluded don't. So I think that must have been for particles. Yeah, so if you have particles on, then you get more snow on other things. So isn't it beautiful? Some of you experiencing this right now. Okay, so back to weather, change the season. Notice, you know, rain as well. We've got rain, we've got particles coming down for the rain. And if we go to the patio there, you can see puddles of water even. Again, I think the realism is pretty good. It's sort of good game playing stuff, I guess, but good fun. Okay, okay, show sun direction. Okay, so we haven't got any sun, so let's change our weather again, back to summer. Now, by the way, you know, if you just change from pure sun to few clouds start to appear, so that's quite useful. Also of note in this seasons thing, we can change. Whoa, okay, I've revealed these other trees keep on coming on when I start doing things like this, but you can change the growth of all your trees, which is quite fun. So something's just appeared which shouldn't have done yet. Added stuff. Let's turn everything off again. Great. Okay, so oh dear, this added stuff keeps on coming back. There we go. Okay, so back to, let's go to, there's all sorts of shortcuts, by the way. If you do miss the shortcuts or wonder what they are, we can go to shortcuts in English, and really useful. You know, 4, 5, 6, move, translate, scale. Only just recently discovered the moving from fly mode to pedestrian mode, really useful. Drive speed 1, 2, 3. So all sorts of, not too many shortcuts, but that's where to find them. Very useful. Because it is essentially a simple program, you know, we expect the shortcuts to be relatively simple too. Okay, again, let's just, sorry, my Mac's gone to sleep. Right, my cheat sheet. So we've told you a bit about objects, textures, editing, creating textures. Yeah, I mean, textures are obviously hugely important in anything we do, and getting good textures is really important. Now, Epic also owns something, or have bought in something called Megascans, and so what I've got here is a program called Bridge. Now, oh, not Bridge. Let's try. There we go. Bridge contains, it gives you access to a program called Megascans. Let's get Bridge up. I presume you're seeing this, that I haven't just shared my screen only, but or my Epic only. But within Bridge, I can get all sorts of different things. If I just go home a moment on Bridge, hopefully this is going to work for me. There we go. So I've got all sorts of surfaces, bricks, all sorts of things, and I can get all of these beautifully into Twinmotion. So I just have to click on the download and the download. Now, I do believe that in the future, this will be totally integrated, but maybe I didn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, but so at the moment, we have to download them and import them, but it may be easier than that in the future. Who knows? Once they're downloaded, we can go to the files, and we've got here a color file, a bump map, and a roughness map. And we can use all of those textures within Twinmotion. What I'm going to do on the PC is actually copy this location, which will help me when I go back into Twinmotion. And then in Twinmotion, this is called material picker. So if we go, let's go in walk mode, walk up to the house. And if we want to change that, I can click on the house. I can go to, let's move us out the way again. Sorry, these controls, you always have to chase them around. So under the more of the color, I can go to the texture of the bricks and I can open, and then I'm going to paste the location there. And this is me changing the color of the bricks. Okay, I'm actually going to want to do that just because I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But you can take bricks in the library and then you can change their color, their bump map, and their reflectivity map as well. So yeah, not enough time to show all of that in detail, but yeah, getting good materials makes your model. It's like having beautiful wallpaper on your on your building. It makes the hugest amount of difference. User library. Okay, and I should mention import of things. So if we go back to the swimming pool here, now what we really want here is a lounger. So I've already got one, but why not bring it in again if I can find it? So if we import a file, it can open up SketchUp files. Now, where did I put them? That's the question. It's probably on my downloads. And we've got here somewhere. No, things aren't necessarily lounger. That makes sense. Okay, so I can bring in a lounger, and in it comes. Yes, that'll do. If you lose it, which is quite easy to do, we can right-click it in the list here and zoom to selection. So here's my nice lounger, and I can move it into place. Now, I have got it in place anyway, so if you don't mind, I'm going to delete it, and we'll go back to poolside. Okay, now we're poolside, and we've got the lounger here. And with the lounger, you can just change its materials quite easily. You can, again, click on the color picker, click on the metal there, and we can sort of adjust its reflection. Or if we go to its settings, there's a metalness. Well, I can't even say metalness. So we can turn on the metal thing. All sorts of things we can change within this to change the material. Now you can see I've now brought in some of my other bits and pieces, including some people. Someone drinks some coffee. Let's just have a look at these people a moment. So if we click on this lady here, and we can get her to do all sorts of things. So our pose can be, she's idle, but she's drinking, she's phoning again, she's drinking, she's idle. Totally ignoring this message on the phone, or hands on the hips. There we go. So I think drinking looked a bit better. We've also got different clothes presets, just for you to change things like that. Yeah, all sorts of things. She can be walking, idle. She can even be dancing. Just what you want, I'm sure. There we go. So people, there's lots of variety in all of this. I'll show you later, hopefully, people walking around, very easy to do that. Cars walking around or driving around, etc. So animated objects, change model used to merge sliding doors. Okay, so something that's quite fun to do if you're doing a walkthrough inside or you're going outside to inside is to have doors which open. So what I've done here is, it's quite useful actually to be able to change the model. Not only can you update the model, if I go back to Vectorworks and make a change, export as a C4D file, if I'm exported the same file, what I have to do is update and that file updates. But you can also tell it to relocate. And what I want to do is relocate, hopefully I can do this in the demo, Twinmotion models. And I want to go to the Blondie house with no door in it. So it's, don't worry, it hasn't all disappeared completely. It's bringing the house in again, and there's no door here. Now, what I did earlier this morning was to export this file twice, once without the door and once with the door only. And I did that so that I could apply a process to the door to make it slide open. So no time to show you exactly how I did that. It's really not hard though. But I'm going to merge the two files together now. So you can merge two Twinmotion files. So under the options here, you can save a copy, which you might like to do. I won't do that. And landscape, whether you want to overwrite the current landscape. I haven't really got a landscape at the moment. So I'm going to open up the doors only file. So again, Twinmotion models, sliding doors. And because they're in the same place in Vectorworks, they'll be the same place in Twinmotion. Oh, boom. Right, okay, so what's special about these doors? So if we move closer to them, they open. Isn't that fun? So there's a sort of behavior built into them, which we can control, which is based on a trigger. So if I'm within 3 meters or 4 meters, then that'll open. That seems like I've got 2 sets of doors here at the moment. So excuses for that. Not sure why that is. I probably brought it in twice in the scene, but well, sliding doors. Let's turn that off now, turn that on. I've got this sliding doors C4D file. That looks like I might have found it. Right, so that is the right one, and this is probably the wrong one. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So I've brought it in twice. Good, good. It's always great to be able to rectify things. And we've even got a dog, and the dog's even sort of sniffing the air and things like that, which is quite fun. Everything's animated, as you can see. Okay, so that's people. People, sliding doors, paths of people, paths of traffic, paths for any object I've got here. So let's have a look at paths. So we've got here paths where we can have a character path, a vehicle path, a bicycle path, or a custom path. So let's deal with characters. You know, scenes devoid of characters, you know, can be a bit dry. Depends on the characters, I guess. But if we want a whole load of people, we've got an airport scene or loads of people walking around, we want to create a character path. So I can go to the pen tool here and just say, okay, I want someone walking from here to here to here. And I want them walking through the doors, actually. So we'll go into here. And we'll go inside the house even. And we'll end the path there. We'll hit escape then, come out. And we've got a whole load of people traipsing into the house. It all sort of resets itself when you stop the camera. So bear with me. And if we click on the character path here, and you'll see that these points can be edited. We can change the width of the path of people. We can change the density of the path of people. So we can have, sorry, let me turn that off. We can change whether we've got African, Asian, or Caucasian here. I hesitate to do any of that in case I get branded racist of some sort. So you can see just very easy. If I don't like the path, then, you know, I just move 4 is move. I just move that, and that's like a sort of Bezier path. So that'll be a smooth path of people coming into the Blunders home. So we can turn that character off. Similarly, you can have roads of traffic. Now, I haven't really, I'll show you how I made all these trees in a few clicks in a moment, but let's just go to a place where we can put in some other paths. So we'll go path, a vehicle path, very much the same sort of thing. I'm not going to do anything. What have we done there? What am I doing? Sorry, what happened there? Paths, vehicle path, make a path. So we'll just do it from here to here for the moment. Hit escape. Now you can see I can choose how many lanes I've got. So I can have 2 lanes. I can have 2 lanes off or on, so I can have things going in both directions, and I can change that to 3 lanes in both directions. I can change the density, I can change the speed, I can change the lane offset, have them separated by a number of things. I can be left-hand drive or right-hand drive, and I can reverse the path. The path's editable, so really easy to do that. I don't think we can change what the cars are. I think it just takes all the cars it's got in its library and it uses those. Okay, so in Twinmotion, I'm sorry, I've just got my chat come up for some reason. Lastly, is there any way to publish the file? Yes, there is. Free viewer, yes, yes, yes. Presume any changes made in Twinmotion do not reflect in Vectorworks? No, it's a one-way ticket. So, yes, changes in Twinmotion are not going to go back to Vectorworks. That's great. So for some reason, the chat just came up. Don't know why. Wasn't up before. Okay, so that's traffic, and I think we don't really need traffic in this particular scene. So we'll turn it off, or got the little breadcrumbs here. We can do that and delete it. Okay, so I know time is ticking on again. It could be 22 already. So let's have a look. And by the way, paths, I've just written down on this, there's paths for any object. So I can have bicycles going along a path, and with a custom path, anything from my library can go along a path. And by the way, anything be in my library, because I've got my user library as well. So in my user library, I haven't got anything very exciting here, but yeah, you can have. I've got a SketchUp tree here. Just someone asked me just this morning, can I bring in vegetation from SketchUp if there's not the right vegetation in Twinmotion? Yes, of course you can. So you just import the SketchUp tree, and I've made it put in my user file, and there we are. That's a SketchUp tree. The only difference you'll find is that the leaves don't wave in the breeze, but I think you can probably do without that. For the sake of reality of the right tree in the right place. By the way, these leaves, I painted them on, and I did that with vegetation paint. With vegetation paint, you can go to all sorts of things, and I found here piles of leaves. So with dead leaves, I drag these into my paint, and I can have a density of leaves slider here. I've got a paintbrush here, and the paintbrush has a diameter, which we can adjust, say 3 meters. So maybe there's lots of leaves all over the place, and I can just paint them in. Not only can I do that, but say I want something else within that painted region, I can just drag that in. So if I go back to my miscellaneous, and I don't know if there's anything else that would be useful, to maybe some piles of dead leaves as well. Now you've got piles within that parameter as well. The density maybe of piles I want to be very low or very high. But you can see within this painted vegetation, almost like a group, it's still live, and I can go back to it at any time and change the density or the composition of what I've painted. But that's how I painted some leaves over here, which just adding a little bit of stuff makes it just so much more realistic. Now, I'm just going to show you very quickly how I painted so many trees over in the other side. And again, it was just a few clicks of a button. Sorry, We're getting a bit fast here. Where's everyone gone? Where's everyone gone? Spin around. Have I turned everything off? Oh no, I'm over here. Okay, it's quite easy to get yourself back to, maybe even the added stuff here. If I just right click and zoom selection, that's one way of getting things. Now, within this, I've tried to be organized. So trees, garden, trees outside garden. So let's just hide that for the moment. So how do you create a forest in a few clicks? Let's have a look. So I've got this area which I've just put some striped grass on, not real grass. But what I did there was I used the vegetation scatter again. And with vegetation scatter, there are only certain things you can scatter, by the way, but you can certainly scatter trees. So I'm just dragging a collection of trees, which I think would be good in this scenario. Some of the larger trees, maybe. Some of them I really don't know occur around here. Prickly juniper, interesting. Turkey oak. Okay, anyway, I've got a number of trees. I can select all of those, go to the plus button here and just click. Hello. Right, something's not happening. Quit media mode. I shouldn't be in media mode. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I was in media mode. I couldn't paint in media mode. Down the bottom here, you'll see my painted vegetation, which I've just, no, that's not that. Right, I've lost myself. Lost what I've just put in there. Okay, that's not helpful. Got all sorts of things here. That's just the house. Good old demonstrations. That's my added stuff, which I can just turn off. Okay, so that was, oh, there we go. Scatter vegetation. Right, okay, start again. So back to this, I'm probably, see, click on the plus. There we go. So as I click, I'm adding these objects randomly around. So you can see it copes very well with a huge amount of trees. I'm still whizzing around. And if you just want to see the detail of these trees, you can see that they cope really well, very close up, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to get rid of these because I've already done some and part of my added stuff, which we can turn on there. And it just means, okay, but also just by the way, cars, we've got a good number of cars here and they're all shiny and beautiful and you can change their color. Good, I know we're running out of time. So let's just look at some of the output and in answer to some people's questions as well. This is our output. So I've got output for images, panoramas, videos, phasing, and presenter. So let's just put some flesh on the bone here. So under my images here, you can see I've got some saved images here, which I can return to, including some character paths, which I don't want to have on, and my doors, which keep on opening. This scene that I've saved here, this is a good way of saving a view, as well as something you're going to render later. But I did this because I thought the depth of field in Twinmotion was so good. If I click on the more here of this image, sorry, let's just look at the chat because when you update, when scattering vegetation is easy to go in and select individual trees and move them. I believe when you've scattered, you can bust up the sort of scatter so they're individual objects. Again, you can also erase. So I didn't show the eraser tool for scattering vegetation. There's so you can, if you paint, you've got an equivalent eraser tool. When you scatter, you've also got an eraser tool, so you can erase bits, which is very, very powerful and easy. 263, a one-off payment, yes, it's a one-off payment, and it includes upgrades. Can you paint wildflower meadows? Now, how did I know who that one was, Claire? Yes. So if you use the paint tool, you can choose your cluster of flowers and you can paint with them. The only thing, Claire, that isn't as I'd want it at the moment is your ability to choose your own flowers. To paint a cluster of those. You have to paint their flowers, not your flowers at the moment. VR panoramic capability just about to show it. And that's all the chat, I think, as we go along. It's good. Okay, so various pre-saved scenes here. Seems like my underlying something's come up into the scene anyway. Okay, so I was just about to show you things like depth of field. So if I edit this scene and go to camera, we've got here DOF, depth of field. So turning that off, turn that on. If it's on and we click on the more, we can set our focus point. The moment our focus point is here, we set our focus point over here, then it throws the foreground into defocus. I can also change the aperture here. So by changing the aperture, you can adjust how much depth of field. I was worried that the depth of field wasn't working correctly. And so I looked in the forum and was told that the depth of field in a real camera does very much depend, and I'm sure, Michael, you'd back this up, on your field of view. And so the bigger the lens, the more zoomed in the lens, the greater the depth of field. You can see the much more blurring with a telephoto lens than with a wide angle lens. So if your lens is too wide angle, you may feel that there's no depth of field, but wide angle lenses just don't give you that defocus the same as zoom lenses do. Again, sure, Michael, who's an advocate, a Nikon, you're very close to Nikon anyway. Sorry.
It depends also on the aperture, Steve.
It is,
the
exactly.
aperture,
No, well, the
aperture and field of view. Those are the two.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Professional speaks. Excellent. So that's, and you've also got this bokeh shape, which is great. How many leaves does your aperture ring have? And that affects sort of sparkles and all sorts. So it's very, very cinematic, this effect, which I really like. So moving on reasonably speedily, I've got still images. I can save these still images for rendering later. Show you about rendering in a moment. And each image can have different things like different weather, different lighting, different location. So like part of location is time of day. So I can change the time of day and I can change where in the world we are. And of course the north offset. So that gives us all the geolocation that we need to have. So if we go back to our images, let's try to move on reasonably swiftly to video. Videos are just as easy as they are in any of the other packages to do. And again, I keep on discovering more and more in the video or in Twinmotion in general. So if I've got one keyframe here, I'm just going to go make sure I'm in walk mode. So I'm in walk mode, by the way, you've got a particular height that you can set that height to be lower. I'm refreshing this keyframe. Then I'm going to walk using the W key. Again, it's turned on the footsteps again, and I'm going to walk to the front of the house there. And then if I click on plus there, I've got another keyframe. It's a 10-second clip. And so now if I go from here to here, then, sorry, bumping right through that lady, we've got a little clip. Now, often good movies are not just one clip going from A to B to C to D, but it's a number of clips added together. So instead of sort of doing that continuing through the doors, etc., sometimes adding another part to the clip, which may carry on, but it may do something different. Maybe we're, I don't know, zooming back. I don't know. I haven't decided what we're doing in this video, but again, do that, update that, move forwards, walk forwards, and look around here, and maybe we're going to change the depth of field so they're not blurred. But that's how videos work. Panorama's much easier. You're basically deciding where you are. So in this place, the panorama will show me what I've got here. If you go always to the more, we can go to more camera and we can change our depth of field, whatever. Now we can't, with the panorama, it's going to show us 360 by 180 panorama. So the zoom level is immaterial because it's 360 by 180. Whizzing through some things here. In the video, let's see, more output size. Output size, yeah, you can change that. Also, with video, you can output a 360 video. 360 videos are brilliant because you can show them on your what they call them, Google Cardboard. I'm looking around my room for Google Cardboard. So I've got this thing, if you're seeing my camera, this would have my mobile phone in it. And with a 360 video, if I play it on those goggles with my phone, I can look around as I'm walking down the video path. So it's a combination between a panorama and a video. Really useful if people don't have goggles. If people have goggles, now I haven't checked these this morning, but if you have goggles, then you can click on this, you can click on VR and click on VR. Now, activating my goggles. I'm putting my goggles on and I can look around the scene here and see things perfectly. I've got some wands here, and with my wands I can choose where I'm looking, and it's just phenomenal, this way of looking around. So with my wands I can sort of tell it to jump over here, and then I'm looking from that particular position. I'm going to take that off for the moment because we're running out of time and I want to show you some interiors. Hit escape, we're out of the virtual, but it's a pity I can't show all of you the you know, what it looks like to wear goggles. It's absolutely amazing. So just put in the password again on this. So I know we're running out of time here. Don't really want it to go over an hour. Why can't I? Okay, stills video panorama presenter. Okay, someone else asked about, let's come out of here. Presenter, what is presenter? So presenter is a way of putting together a bunch of stills, videos, panoramas, whatever you want, as if you're doing some sort of PowerPoint presentation of all these things. And so you can put together this thing of what you want your client to see. And it can either be an aid for you just to say, okay, this is what I'm going to show him. I'm not going to go freeform. But also you can send him a presenter file. Now, at present, and I just stress that, at present, and please, that's all I'm going to say. Don't ask me anymore. At present, the presenter file, if I've got a Mac, then I can save a presenter file as a Mac file, a DMG file. If I'm on a PC, I can save a PC presenter file. A friend of mine who's watching at the moment, Klaus, who does some fantastic visualizations already, Klaus wanted his client to have a PC presentation. He sent me his Mac file, and I then made a PC presentation for him. But hopefully you won't have to do that for much longer. But I didn't say that. I really didn't. So that's what you can do at the moment. And not only, it's really clever the way they do this, in that he can go from a video to a still or whatever. And if you allow him, he can then go off piste. So he can walk around anywhere he wants if you allow him, but you may not want to allow him. Now, I'm just going to open the kitchen file so you can see some interiors. Sorry, I've spent far too long on the exterior. I won't save this file. And let's open the interior. By the way, when the interior opens, don't worry if it looks horrible to begin with. It sort of does all its adjusting of exposure and white balance and sort of thing. No, it's not quite as horrible as I thought. Okay, so we'll recognize this file, and this is pretty well how it comes in straight from Vectorworks. Okay, so we've got it in straight from Vectorworks. I have done lots to it actually, but I've just hidden it, as with the other things. So I was just going to show you live how to put in some lights, how to make these things glow, how to put in props, etc., and how easy and how good, and that's for you to judge how good it is for interiors. So let's have a look. First of all, materials. So I've got a material up here using the color picker here, and click here and just putting this out of the way. All right, that says fiberglass, but I think that is what I did as my glow lights. The tip of that picker should, yeah. Okay, so what I want to do is to change this to glowing lights. Now, under the, I think it's under settings. Again, I've got to keep on moving the zoom controls out of the way, but I can just cause that to glow. So we can have glowing discs. And then for the lights, unfortunately, at the moment, again, you know, I hope that's going to change. But at the moment, our lights, we just have to put them in. I think it's easier to do than Lumion, but nonetheless, we do have to put them in. And we have these lights, which those in the know will know as IES lights, and we can edit any of them to be a different IES light. So if I click on this light, I can just click on it here, etc., and put those lights in. Now, you're not seeing an awful lot of effect here. You can see it if I put it along here, but two things to do here. Obviously, there's a certain amount of exposure in the scene, and there's a certain amount of lumens in the light. So if we go to 2000 lumens, you know, we've got more light in the scene. Now, when we start turning off lights outside, the sunlight is blinding, and so yeah, we can make some really strong lights which overcome the sunlight. But in reality, when we start turning the lights off outside, then we'll need much less lumens. So very easy to put those lights in the scene, but for the moment, we're going to delete those and instead turn on the lights we prepared earlier. Now, these lights aren't appearing, but if I change the time of day to my nighttime scene here and just wait for auto exposure to kick in. There we go. So we've got auto exposure, and now we've got these lights very nicely glowing in the scene. And if I just take one light and go again, putting zoom out of the way, to the more, this is the IES file. And if I click on that, I could open a different IES file. These little bars here are talking about whether these things are clones of each other, a bit like symbols in Vectorworks, or whether they're all individual. And I think they're all, most of them are linked to one another. And what that means is that if I change the angle of one, you can see they all change. So they are, what's the terminology for it? But they are instances of, they're like symbols. You can break that instance, so you can say to this, okay, what is it? Unlink, is it? Or break instance, sorry, that's the terminology. So you can break the instance to make them individual. I don't know what you give this rendering. You know, we haven't hardly done anything to it. You know, we can click on, say, the granite here. We can just change the reflections you can see here to make it, you know, more and more shiny. Lights get smaller and smaller, tight and bright, or dull and broad, as we say with the specular reflection. So very easy to make changes here, very easy to put things in from the library. And let's just, because we're running out of time here, what is the time? Yep, it's nearly 2 o'clock. So because we're running out of time, we are going to quickly turn on all our other entourage. So Emily, painted vegetation, trees, and entourage. There we go. So we've put other things in here. Could come from SketchUp, could have come from the library. I think most of these things come from the library. Now, because we're up, time is almost finished. I'm just going to ask you, can you just enter this poll? Would you mind doing that? It's just interesting to know, you know, what platform you are on, you know, whether you're already set up to be able to do some of this, and whether you're interested in actually purchasing. Of course, these webinars are totally free, but it's always interesting to know if you're interested in purchasing. Okay, so yeah, interesting. 70-30 Mac, something like that. No one has both, apart from me, it seems. 80-20 Mac. So a lot of you interested in Twinmotion because you're Mac. Do you have a half-decent graphics card? Yeah, most people have a half-decent graphics card. Fantastic, that's really good. Do you already own one? 60-40 do actually own one of these already. Interested in buying some? No, not the right time. 60-40. And which do you think had the most potential for you? 94% said Twinmotion. Very interesting. Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. That's 17 out of 18 voted, 18 out of 18 voted. That's really good. So we'll end polling and share the results. There we go. Thank you very much. That's really interesting. If you'd like to know more, head over to our website, cadschool.co.uk, or email me, steve@cadschool.co.uk.